So, Arun Prasad sir, thanks for joining this. So let me start with one thing, what we just completed a while ago after speaking with so many speakers. Since you were one of the, or you were the brains behind creating and curating those topics and core questions, I want to understand from you two things. One is, what were you thinking at that time? Because there's so many podcasts, so many discussions. I think we are all flooded with information.
Correct.
Means one more podcast, right? That's how it looked like. So what was one thing going on in your head, in terms of conceptualizing those questions and speaking, making sure that we address that to our speakers? And second is, how do we see AI, be it a productization or be it creating agentic to physical, right? What is your take on developing those personas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first let me just talk about the kind of questions that we wanted to capture from a variety of people who are great experts in their own domain. First thing is that we had a very clear theme for the conclave, emergence. So we wanted to talk about how intelligence is getting into the systems and how it is becoming important. So we had to connect everything to the theme of the conclave. Second, each of the speakers, they come from in-depth experience in particular field and have done massive amount of work in their own domains. I wanted to make sure that their domain and their ideas are connected to the conclave. And nice. The third and the most important thing is audience, right? So it's the triangulation of all the three ideas to say that ultimately we must really, audience were obviously architects who are really wanting to learn a lot of stuff. So there must be an element of learning or education in every one of those questions. So as we really looked at all these three dimensions of the theme of the conclave, the expertise of the speaker, and how audience can benefit by learning them.
Fascinating.
So you talked about the AI. I really like this idea about AI, how it is influencing our lives. We definitely know that we are doing many things just like any other process. So we have a learning process, we have a customer acquisition process, or we really create content, educational content. There is an education content creation process. Now, the way of working, which is nothing but the process that we follow, AI can be embedded into each one of those steps.
Right.
This is one way of looking at how AI is going to change. Of course, it will increase the productivity. It will make things a lot simpler because it will give you the choice of the right things to do. It can help generate audio, video, summaries, and it has inherent capabilities to do many things. So we ourselves can use in the process that we use to embed AI and bring out our work product finally to a much, much better shape. This is one way of looking at things. Now, we know that AI has a very unique capability, which human beings cannot really even think about doing that. Suppose somebody says, I want you to remember 250 years back what happened until now and tell me summary. Human beings cannot do that. Forget 250 years, you can't even do it for 5 years.
Right.
And at the speed at which it can work is extraordinary. And not only that, we are now teaching AI to behave like human beings. That means it can even ask you, would you like me to take the next step?
Yeah.
So these three things combined together, the ability to remember unprecedented amount of information, which gives me a whole context, ability to do this entire processing in split second, and also show you the way forward. These three capabilities can be used to do some extraordinary things, which is working on systems which are built around AI itself. That's what we call it as AI native solutions.
Right.
So one, you can do both simultaneously. You can improve your ways of working. You can also improve or build systems which are inherently are designed, architected, designed and made for made with AI at the heart.
Excellent, excellent. So to the audience listening to us, so RNP sir is fondly known to his colleagues. He's a veteran and a product management experience with 40 plus years of experience. He has 2 patents, written book on foundations of analytics, and given TED talks and worked on major transformations across major companies. And means great mentor to us, to the company. We have been working on few projects, and I think you have been the torchbearer for setting up new initiatives, including this digital architect conclave. So that would be my next question, coming back to this conclave itself from the inception days. We have heard of some of our speakers, including Nishit, right? He was one of the brains behind setting up and conceptualizing this whole conclave. But you were also there, from day one and much before that too. How do you see events like this, right? Help the aspiring architects to take a better path, to get a better direction? And how do you think in last 3 years this conclave has been able to address that gap where architects can come and meet and greet and have a conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a very interesting thought and a question. I think today we are in a world where we are deeply connected with our present work, particularly in services industry. We have to show value to our customers. There is no choice. So that requires our complete engagement on the job that we have. It's our day job. Now that also means that I have very little time for us to read anything extra and devote and continuously make lifelong learning as a habit. So forums like this will really bring a lot of compressed knowledge in a very short period of time. And that will generate so much curiosity that I choose my area of passion, my area of strength. And then based on that, I can really go and really specialize and become a thought leader in that area. See, this, even though it's just a one-day event, here we are wearing 360-degree perspective of architecture. How different organizations have, so the poster session, for example, many great companies have found so many beautiful solutions in their own industry. So you can get a whole lot of ideas from that. Speakers, absolutely amazing things they are able to bring out and what kind of services they are delivering to their customers. So if you put all these things together, then I get my own mental model of what my life should be as an architect. And I think that's the seed which will become an extraordinarily important motivation for me to really learn something, in this particular area of architecture. And that too in a particular time when AI is changing the game in a very positive way. I would put this across more like every architect of future will be a versatilist who will know a variety of subjects across business, technology, process and industry domain to varying degree of depth so that I can be a thought starter or a conversation starter and show value at every single interaction. That's the characteristic of the future architect.
No, absolutely. You brought an interesting take. The poster sessions, right? Means very unique. I have attended tens of these events in the past in the last 10-15 years. More or less they figured out a set pattern, right? Means too few keynote, few tech talks, some demonstrations talking about a product launch and so on. This is very interesting take altogether, and being showcasing some work,
Correct.
Real work.
Yes.
And that requires maybe 10x of the preparation before we do this, right?
Absolutely.
And you have, I think, who knows better than you? You have sort of worked with each one of them, and you know most of the projects by heart, right? And you help them to also sort of refine it for the conclave. But by two parts of the question. One is, what was the thought? How did you come at this idea of having a poster session? And second is, how difficult was this exercise, right? Dealing with maybe 10 companies, 50 people, getting them on board in a standard structure and getting them agreed to the plan what we were trying to do them for, right? So how do you do that?
Yeah, I was actually very privileged to participate and also give a talk in some of the world's best forums related to data called TDWI, the Data Warehousing Institute, which typically happens in San Diego in USA. I had not only given talks over 3-4 years, but I had seen that pattern in which they organize such events. One of the very interesting thing in this was, of course, the poster, and it carried a lot of wonderful story behind it, and it's a teamwork. So a solution of that order could never be created by one architect.
Yeah.
So what you are seeing here today is a co-created work from a variety of experts. That could be an IoT architect, that could be a content architect, that could be a security architect, and there could be some serious domain problem which only the domain architect knew. The confluence and bringing people together to create a unique solution now today is represented in one single sheet.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's why we said that, this, even though it is just one picture that you see, it has distinctive parts of the problem space, the solution space, and the business impact space.
Yes.
So we shared that idea with all our partner organizations, and they were very happy to represent their solutions into these three areas and come up with a very uniform structure. So that's what we see as a very wonderfully consistent display of all of them really addressing a serious burning industry problem, and that was quantified, and they found they have represented their solutions with some unique capabilities they have developed, and also they are able to share because they have implemented the solution, what impact it was able to create. So we have wonderful collaboration with the teams which actually created the solution, and that's what made the poster session really
I must say you're being very humble. I'll still, I want to still know how did you do this? Getting 5 architects with different background, getting into one room, agree to something,
and
doesn't happen every day, right?
Yes, that's true, and that too virtually. Everybody is in a very
that's another challenge. That's another constraint.
No, I think we followed I guess a fairly decent process. We requested them to come up with a simple synopsis of what project they had done, and bringing out the importance of that problem being, that's a problem which is worth finding a solution, first of all. So people were able to write that. Yeah. And based on that, we put some screening criteria, which connecting again back to the theme, whether does it make sense to showcase that in this particular theme. And we went back and we had a personal chat, and so they developed independently the problem space, the solution space, and the impact space. Then we merge that together and see if there is a story that flows smoothly. At the end of the day, that it was all so beautifully interviewed, and I was so delighted to say that they were able to express the value of this whole exercise in even 2 to 3 minutes. That was
absolutely
very and of course I must sincerely acknowledge I learnt a lot.
Great. That's a surprise. Means I don't know, after 40 years, you still come up with that attitude that you can learn from things. I think this is one thing which I would like to tell to the younger generation, right, 20-25 years, that life, there's a lot to be seen as you move along with the journey. So other point, look, AI can solve multiple problems, and we have been talking about it. It can solve, it can create also problems if you want at times. One of the few problems which AI can't solve, right, is again getting 5 people to an agreement and getting 5 architects. I think you have been able to pull this off, right? So this is a secret sauce maybe for the people who are going to plan their next poster session. One good takeaway is define the goal, right?
Absolutely.
If you are solving for a purpose, then you will learn to collaborate, and you will collaborate for the common good, right?
Correct.
Not for you, for the company, and for the good of the society also as a professional community. So thank you for sharing that. So RMP said couple of things again, and from a lens, like from an insider, right? Means you have lived the system. You have lived the breadth of the entire piece, starting from the preparation of the conclave to mad meetings at morning, evening, night, different time zones. I don't know, Ms. Priya pulled me in different time zone meetings, and both of us were in India, by the way, right? And also making sure that, the people who are going to turn up do see value,
Yes.
right? And I think that has been the talk of the day, unlocking the value. And that's how we started our day, right?
Correct.
Ms. Dr. Pramod Verma taught us two important things which I learned, right? Out of 100 things, what we can take away from that. One is how to be more disciplined in terms of time management. He came at 9:20. He finished his talk at 10:20. He was there for 5-10 minutes. He was out of the building by 10:35 or 40, I guess, right? And the second thing is he taught, figure out one thing,
Correct.
right? One thing that creates the massive impact and unlock the value that can be scaled,
Correct.
right? I want to hear, since you belong to that whole community, you interact with people like that let's add more feature, right? When you train, when you mentor them, the very first thing what we have been told in our life, that unlearn, learn and relearn concept, right? Means very difficult to execute. But when you talk to these people, that RNP sir, let me add one more table. Let me add three more things. Very tempting. How do you tell them, and from the talk, how do you help them to understand that what's more important stays more important, right?
Yeah, you brought out a very interesting thing. In fact, that was exactly the experience of working with everybody. So in every column, I could easily see about 20 points, 15 points describing the whole set of problems or even their solution. I could see a whole list of wonderful things they had done. It's a question of really collaborating and prioritizing. So I used to always say, if there is one thing that if you did not tell, this poster will be useless. That's the kind of questioning I used to ask.
Yeah.
What is that one thing? If you missed, people will miss the whole poster. Find out that. So then people would take time and really say that, I have put it on the top. Now you don't need anyway. Then they started really looking at it. Even then it was still about 8-10 points kind of stuff only. Then I'd say, okay, now assume that you just get 2 minutes to describe the whole poster. Okay. Now what will you do? So you have to allocate time. So in which case now again focus on the most important thing, that if you miss, you have not conveyed the most important message from your organization. So that really helped us to prioritize. So once you see that magic happened, really, because everybody was so happy that this is something which, again, it was a beautiful collaborative work within their teams to really see what is the one message we should never miss. That's the smallest trick I used in order to help them. I never gave them the message. I wanted them to evolve the message. This is the interesting part of the coaching, so that they really know, because they have created the solution. I am still a person who is only looking at and trying to help them come up with their thing. I only help them to come up with the right answer. That's all.
Absolutely fascinating. So, there I just want to have one more questions before I let you go. AI data products, right? Either they are used in silos or independently or with a combination. In fact, we had a talk, AI powered data products. There's one talk which covered all 3 points, right? Data, product, AI. For anybody, especially, for me back then, especially back 15 years ago when I started my career, there was no blueprint. We were learning from our seniors, peers, mentors like you, that what next we should do. But I think now there is a lot to be, a lot of things available, which is also a problem in some way, because too much of information create trouble. What advice, and maybe personally for me, if I have to look at this part of my career, right, and I want to do something better than what I'm doing right now, what advice you will give us, people like us, and maybe in the community of architects also, right?
Yeah. So if we really look at that, whatever that we heard today, we have moved several steps. Our first step, particularly in IT services industry in India, we started as projects. I also started as projects only. We were looking at everything like a project. It has a starting point, it has an ending point, it has steps, and I deliver this and I'm over. Then we started taking more and more responsibilities. It became a larger program. I can execute multiple projects and I can show you an outcome. What is the net impact of that? Then we started building products ourselves. So there is already a shift from project mindset to a product mindset.
Interesting. Okay.
No, that means sometimes it's hard to define what's a product. I'll come to that. But anyway, what you heard, a product to me has a clear guarantee of its usage. If I buy a pen, for example, I know I'm going to use it for writing, and the confidence that I have is that when I want to write, it will write.
Yeah.
It is as simple as that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if I take the olden day quill or something like that, then I buy some ink and then say, I want to write. I'm not sure. None of them are branded. I'm experimenting. But with a clear, guaranteed, branded pen, I know that when I can write. Right? So a product has that inherent guarantee of, or the trust that you have, that I can use it for the purpose for which I buy that.
Right.
Now, data product is nothing different. If this product is going to help me to find the top 10 customers whom I need to approach, I must have the trust that this will do the job. That's what is discoverability, that's what is the trustworthiness, that's what is the ability of the tool to solve a particular problem.
Excellent.
It is to solving the unmet needs of a user is clearly equated to a product. Now, that's what the whole world will move towards. And if we really learn the intersection or the confluence of data and products, and very interestingly, one more development that was happening was, who owned the data? Is it IT department, or is it the infrastructure people, or is it the people who own the process? Actually, interestingly, none. It is the domain expert. If you are in marketing, you created the data. Who knows the data better than you? So that means marketing department should creatively think about the data, generate the data, become the custodians of the data, and also create the data products of marketing. So that way the data mesh and the new architectures that are coming supports distributed management and ownership of the data. Now I can add business value to it, I can add meaning to it, I can add searchability to it, I can add security to it, and make it into a product, which is exactly like any other product.
Yeah, a good food for thought for all the marketers out there. Great. Thanks for sharing all the wealth of information and wisdom. And I think conclaves like this not only allow us to share knowledge, but also have that human touch. At least I think we are in the world of AI, and we at least talk 100 times about AI. We talk more about AI than our names now. So it becomes far more important to have those interactions, and this is one of them. So thanks a lot, RNP sir.
Thank you very much, and my pleasure to talk.
Thank you.